There's a particular kind of silence that settles over a man when someone asks him, casually, warmly, "So, when are you getting married?" Not anger, not defensiveness, just a pause, a half smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a change of subject so smooth you almost don't notice. And if you pay attention, really pay attention, you'll see it's not avoidance. It's the silence of someone standing at the edge of a cliff they've been told is a diving board. Everyone else has jumped. Everyone says the water's fine. But he's still standing there, looking down, wondering why his body won't move, and whether that makes him broken or just awake. We live in an age of infinite options and infinite anxiety. You can swipe through 1,000 faces in an evening. You can build entire relationships in pixels before ever meeting. You can read 100 competing philosophies about what love is supposed to look like, how marriage has changed, how it's just a piece of paper, or the most important decision you'll ever make. And somewhere in that noise, there's a man. Maybe 32, maybe 38, successful enough, self-aware enough, kind enough, and by every external metric, he should be married by now. His mother mentions it with that special tone reserved for unspoken disappointment. His friends have moved into houses with wives and toddlers. His social media feed is a cascade of engagement rings catching sunlight, of rehearsal dinners, of anniversary posts captioned with, "Can't believe it's been 5 years." And he's not there yet. But here's what we miss. The way he feels about this isn't laziness. It isn't Peter Pan syndrome. It's something closer to existential vertigo, the feeling of standing before a door everyone insists you should walk through, while a quiet voice inside you whispers, "But what if I'm not done becoming the person who walks through it?" We call it fear of commitment, but that's almost never what it actually is. Because here's the paradox. Many of these men are deeply committed to their work, to their routines, to their friends, to their mental health, to becoming someone they don't yet recognize in the mirror but can almost see in the distance. They're not afraid of commitment. They're afraid of miscommitment. They're afraid of choosing from a place of pressure rather than clarity, of saying yes to a timeline instead of a person, of confusing societal readiness with internal readiness. And they've seen what happens when you get that wrong. They've watched their fathers grind through marriages that looked right on paper but felt hollow at the dinner table. They've seen friends marry at 26 and divorce at 31, shell-shocked, saying things like, "We were different people." So they wait, not because they don't believe in love, but because they believe in it too much to do it half awake. There's a concept in psychology called maximizer versus satisficer. A satisficer chooses what's good enough. A maximizer obsesses over finding the optimal choice and often ends up paralyzed, not because the options are bad, but because they could be better. Modern men, especially those who don't marry on time, often fall into this trap, but not in the way you think. They're not maximizing the woman, they're maximizing the self. They're haunted by a question that previous generations didn't have the luxury or the curse to ask. Am I the version of myself I want to bring into this? Not, am I rich enough, tall enough, accomplished enough? But, am I whole enough? And this is where it gets complicated. Because wholeness, in the modern self-help era, has become a moving target. There's always another layer to unpack, another childhood wound to address, another limiting belief to dissolve. Another book, another podcast, another therapist offering a new framework for the work. So he keeps working on himself, and the years pass, and the question shifts from, when will I be ready, to will I ever be ready, which is really just another way of asking, am I allowed to be imperfect and still be loved? Meet Daniel, 34, software engineer, lives alone in a one-bedroom with exposed brick and a French press he uses every morning. He's dated, seriously, even 3 years with Emily, who wanted marriage by year 2. He wasn't ready. She left. He understood. He still thinks about her sometimes when it rains. Now he's with someone new. It's good. She's good. But when she mentions future timelines, he feels his chest tighten. Not because he doesn't love her, but because some part of him still doesn't trust his own choices. He's terrified of choosing again from the same unfinished place he chose from last time. Meet Marcus, 41, never married, photographer, 3 long-term relationships that all ended the same way. Her wanting more, him saying soon, until soon became never. He's not cruel. He's just haunted by the memory of his parents' divorce, how his father stood in the driveway with garbage bags of clothes, looking small and confused, saying to 12-year-old Marcus, "I thought I knew what I wanted." Marcus learned early, wanting someone and knowing how to build a life with them are 2 different kinds of knowledge, and he's still not sure he has the second one. Meet James, 29, but feels older, watches his friends get married and feels nothing. Not envy, not longing, just a quiet disconnection, like watching a movie in a language he doesn't speak. He wonders if something's wrong with him, if he missed the day everyone else got the manual. He loves people. He's loved women deeply. But marriage, the idea of it, the weight of it, feels like a costume he's supposed to wear that doesn't fit his body, and he's too honest to pretend otherwise. Let's go deeper. What's really happening here isn't about marriage at all. It's about identity negotiation. In an age of radical individualism, for the first time in history, men are being asked, expected, to build an identity outside of traditional roles before stepping into them. To be sensitive but strong, ambitious but present, independent but relational, self-actualized but not selfish. And marriage, in this context, becomes terrifying, not because it's a cage, but because it's a commitment to a version of yourself you haven't finished building yet. Previous generations didn't have this problem. You became a man by becoming a husband. The role created the identity. But modern men are told, become a whole person first. Do your inner work. Heal your attachment wounds. Know your values. Build your career. Discover yourself. And then, only then, bring that complete self to another complete self and merge your completeness into a new shared completeness. It's an impossible standard. And the cruelest part? The longer you wait to meet it, the more you're judged for waiting. There's also this, the silent weight of irreversibility. Divorce exists, yes, but psychologically, emotionally, financially, marriage still feels like a one-way door. And in a world where you can return purchases within 30 days, switch careers at 40, reinvent your entire identity on a whim, the idea of a choice you can't easily undo becomes almost paralyzing, especially if you've watched people you love pay the price for getting it wrong. So he waits. Not because he's immature, but because he's terrified of becoming the man standing in the driveway with garbage bags, wondering where he went wrong. Let's sit with the feeling for a moment. The real feeling. It's not indifference. It's not coldness. It's a kind of loneliness that doesn't have a name. The loneliness of wanting to want something the way everyone says you should. The loneliness of loving someone and still not being sure. The loneliness of feeling behind in a race you're not sure you ever agreed to run. It's lying awake at 2 a.m., scrolling through photos of friends' weddings, feeling a strange mix of happiness for them and dread for yourself, not because you don't want what they have, but because you're not sure you're built for it the same way. It's your mother's voice on the phone, careful and concerned. "I just want you to be happy." And the unspoken suffix, which means married. It's the look on your girlfriend's face when her friend gets engaged, the way she goes quiet, the way you both know what she's thinking, even if she doesn't say it. It's the shame of not having a good reason, because "I'm not ready" sounds like an excuse when you're 37, and "I'm still figuring myself out" sounds like something a 22-year-old says. But beneath the shame, there's something else. A stubborn, quiet integrity, a refusal to perform a life you don't feel, a commitment to honesty that might cost you relationships, approval, ease, but at least it won't cost you yourself. And maybe that's the part we don't talk about enough. The courage it takes to disappoint people, to say, "I know what I'm supposed to want, but I have to listen to what I actually feel," even when what you feel is uncertainty, especially then. So what do we do with this? How do we hold the tension between personal readiness and social timelines? Between honoring your own pace and honoring the needs of someone who loves you? Maybe we start by questioning the premise. On time, according to whom? By what calendar? Measured against which life? There is no cosmic deadline, no universal law that says you must be married by 30, by 35, by 40. There are only choices. And the consequences of those choices. Some men will wait until they feel ready and find that readiness is a place they reach. They'll marry at 42 and feel grateful they waited. They'll have done the work. They'll know themselves. The marriage will be grounded in something real. Others will wait until they feel ready and discover that readiness never comes, that it's not a destination but a decision. They'll realize they were waiting for a feeling that only doing the thing can create. And they'll either choose anyway, or they'll choose solitude. And either can be the right choice. And some will wait too long. They'll lose people they loved because they couldn't move at the speed of the relationship. And they'll have to make peace with that too. There's no neat answer here, no framework that resolves the tension. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the struggle is the answer. Maybe being thoughtful about something this important, agonizing over it, even, is a sign of respect, not failure. Maybe we need to make space for the men who move slowly, who ask hard questions, who refuse to marry just because it's time, not because they're right and everyone else is wrong, but because their hesitation is itself a kind of care. A care for the weight of a promise, a care for the person they'd be making it to, a care for the life they'd be building, brick by brick, in the years that follow. And that care, uncomfortable, inconvenient, even painful, might be one of the most honest forms of love there is. There's a moment that comes, sometimes, late at night, when the noise dies down, when the think pieces and the timelines and the expectations fade, and it's just you. And the question, not when, but why? Why marriage? Why now? Why this person, this life, this version of forever? And if you listen, really listen, the answer isn't in your head. It's in your body, in the quiet yes or no that lives beneath the shoulds. Some men are waiting to hear that yes. Some are learning to trust the no. And some are discovering that the deepest act of courage isn't choosing certainty. It's choosing honestly. Even if honesty means I don't know yet. Even if it means disappointing people. Even if it means standing at the edge a little longer, while everyone else has already jumped. Because maybe, just maybe, the point isn't to marry on time, it's to marry on truth.